welcome to Uncommon Sense, where we do our best to make it common again. I'm your host, Adrian Ahlquist.
Hello and welcome to Uncommon Sense. I'm your host, Nancy Brown.
What? That's confusing. Let me explain. So, we have big news. This might be the last time I give that opening because I am transitioning out of being the host of Uncommon Sense. And it'll be bittersweet because obviously I've grown attached to the podcast and stuff, but I'm on to different things. I don't want to say I'm on to bigger and better things, but I'm on to different and similarly sized things. So I am giving the reins and I'm passing the torch again to Nancy Brown, our previous host of Uncommon Sense. Nancy, how are you?
I am doing great, but Adrian, it's all new for me because I never did it on video before.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, I will help with the editing and everything. But I'm sure people will love to see your face.
I hope so. I don't know. At least they'll hear my voice. They'll recognize my voice, right?
Yes, exactly.
Right.
We thought we'd just take this episode and give it a smooth transition, and maybe Nancy can ask a few things, and I might ask Nancy a few things.
That sounds good. Well, should we do our promotions first, Adrian?
Yes, absolutely. Yes,
Yeah.
I always forget that, but this is the time to do it. So, so everyone, please, I put in the request. Please sign up to become a member of the Society of Gilbert Keith Chesterton. You can go to chesterton.org/membership. I'm kind of wary that many people don't know what being a member means. Member of the Society of G.K. Chesterton. Obviously, I think some people think, oh, I'm engaging with the content. I watch the podcast. I'm a member of the society. Well, yes, but we're actually talking about being a subscriber. A member of G.K. Chesterton is $59 a year, not a month, by the way. It's $59 for the whole year, so $5 a month. And for that, you get Gilbert Magazine, which is produced by Dale Ahlquist. I mean, he has his own writings in there, but he also gets amazing other writers to write in there. Nancy, you've written for it.
Lots of times.
Yeah. And you also get exclusive video content on our website. It's called Chesterton on Tap, which I produced, and it's hosted by Dale Ahlquist. And there's some great content there. And you also get discounts on our shop at chesterton.org/shop. You get discounts on all the book and merchandise there. And you get discounts on our annual conference, which is a huge fun event. You get to meet like-minded people. So definitely go and sign up to become a member at chesterton.org/membership. You can also become a knight. There'll be an option there to become a knight, which is our elite giving society. So that's at a higher price, but you are heavily supporting us in our endeavors to evangelize through education. And you can go to chesterton.org/knights, to become a knight. And there, that comes with other benefits, by the way. In October, we're going to be hosting a night at the round table where all the knights get together and we have a feast. And that'll be, and I'm not going to give too much away. I won't say where it is or when it is exactly, because you have to become a knight to get that information. So chesterton.org/knights. I think I covered everything. Nancy, did you want to say anything else?
Yeah, I just want to tell people that your membership isn't just a membership. You're actually becoming part of our mission, and you're helping us to evangelize through education, through adult education, through our schools that we provide, through everything that we do online. You are actually becoming a part of our mission. So it's not just a subscription. It's not just a magazine, even though you do get those things. You're becoming part of our big society family. So I just want you to know that we want you to become part of our family. So that's why we're inviting you.
Exactly. Yeah. And it helps us out so much. I mean, a lot of people, they become a member. I mean, they care, they like the content and everything, but they really want to become a member because they believe in what we're doing. I mean, we're able to service over 50 Chesterton academies now. And we want to rebuild education. We want to do that for adults as well, with adult education. That's part of what Gilbert Magazine does, and we're launching new programs to do that. So yeah, so that's I ask that you become a member for me as I'm on my way out of being the podcast. And by the way, I might be back, maybe as a guest interviewee. But yeah, so I won't disappear off the face of the earth.
Yes, but you can put in honor of Adrian Ahlquist on
Yes.
your membership, and then
Yeah,
that will
exactly.
make Adrian very happy. So let's do that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
All right. Well, I have a question for you, Adrian. I'm going to get you started.
Okay.
How did you get started podcasting for the Chesterton Society?
Okay. Well, Emily DeRotstein, our executive director, she hired me after Matt Martinison left. He was our director of evangelization. And so Emily hired me as the next director of evangelization, excuse me. And part of the responsibilities was hosting a podcast. And I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. And that was a little bit scary. I can't lie. But I had watched a fair amount of podcasts before that, both video ones and just audio. And that was helpful. I really am glad I did that. And, one of my favorites was Joe Rogan. Even though he's not religious. One of my favorite religious ones was what was it? Word on Fire podcast
Sure.
and Ascension Presents, which is Father Mike Schmitz.
Mm-hmm.
But Joe Rogan was very comfortable, and he talked to all these different types of guests, and he could carry a conversation, and you wouldn't expect someone like him to be able to do that. And so that was inspiring in a unique way. And so I tried. I was obviously very much a noob at first, a newbie, but slowly I became less nervous, and I was able to carry on a conversation. And my dad helped me with that, obviously, because he's a natural interviewee.
Yes,
By the way,
he sure is.
if you hear noise in the background, I'm back at school where I started doing podcasts because my dad is cleaning out his study. So you might hear noise and teenagers just running around, but that is maybe it's nice to hear that. Yeah.
Just part of your life. So
Yeah.
actually, podcasting was a surprise for you.
Yeah.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any interviews that you feel you look back on over the past year and you think, oh, that was a really good one? Can you think back?
Yeah, and most of them are really good because of my guests. My guests have been absolutely fantastic. You being one of them, Nancy.
Thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, one of my favorites was Christopher Check, who talked about the Battle of Lepanto. He's a skilled historian, and he talked about the battle. You should go watch it. And he just knew all the details, and he gives this romantic story of how the Christians defeated the Ottoman Turks. And I was just in awe, and I loved it so much. So
Yeah.
that one was really good. I think a fan favorite is the C.S. Lewis and Chesterton podcast that I did with Alan C. Duncan.
Mm-hmm.
That was really good. And I was not expecting that because I'd never talked to Alan C. Duncan before, but he had all this research about how C.S. Lewis was a fan of G.K. Chesterton, and he had the proof. We have the books that Chesterton wrote that C.S. Lewis owned, and he had the scribbles in the margins and C.S. Lewis notes. And it's just so cool to think about. I mean, a lot of people didn't know that. I didn't know that. So you can check that one out too.
Yeah, look on our feed and look for those too.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, probably another fan favorite is Joseph Pierce. Even though the video quality for that one isn't as good and stuff, it's the content. I mean, Joseph Pierce was so good. He talks about his conversion story, about how he was a radical, and how Chesterton converted him away from being, by the way, an anti-Semite. He was part of an anti-Semitic group, and Chesterton converted him away from being that, and he became Christian. And that's that very important nowadays to know about that. So yeah,
absolutely. Plus, he has just a great accent.
Oh yeah, absolutely. When you can understand it,
right?
Just kidding.
Yeah. It is a bit thick at times.
Yeah.
All right. So now I remember listening to that Alan C. Duncan recording that you made, and one of the things that he did was he turned the tables on you and asked you a question. I thought that was pretty good of him. So I'm going to turn the tables and ask you a very specific question about a side project that you've been working on. So tell us about your side project, Adrian.
Yes, this is a side project that I don't think I've mentioned on the podcast. I might have mentioned it when I was talking to Nicola about the Father Brown card game.
Mm.
I am actually also helping produce a card game of my own, and it has nothing to do with the society. It's a digital card game, so it's technically a video game, but it's a card game that's on your computer, and it's a multiplayer collectible card game, which is there's some jargon for you, but it's a situation where it's not your traditional 52 card deck. It's a lot of unique cards, and you need to work to get all of them. And so each one has unique art and a unique ability. And so this is a pretty ambitious endeavor because not only is it very, very difficult to produce a video game, not many people know that. I bet that's that's not video games are kind of off the radar for our general public, which is okay. But it's really hard because of the programming and just making it fun and wholesome and stuff like that. But making a collectible card game is also very ambitious because there's a lot of competition there. There's already ones that are established, and it's really hard to monetize it. And so it's a big endeavor. But thankfully, I'm working with a very skilled group of people. Some of them I recruited, and they're Chesterton alumni. And that's what's really cool. That's the one connection I would say is we're able to use what we've learned and being well-rounded. That has really helped craft the game so far. So yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting. And when do you have a ETA on when it's going to be available for the public?
Well, we want to finish the alpha stage, the stage where it's presentable, but we're like, hey, this is what we want to create. Can you help us, fundraise and can we might put it on Kickstarter when we're done with the alpha stage.
Sure.
But we're actually aiming in a couple months for that.
Wow.
Yeah, and so what this involves alpha art, which is not the final art that we're going to have, but it's kind of placeholder art and still has to be kind of good, right? It's not finalized, and it's because it's a lot more work to do that. But yeah, that's what we're aiming for. And then there's the beta stage after that.
Sure.
And then eventually, the next is you have it complete and people can get it. And yeah. So
very awesome. That's cool. Well, using your skills in a different way.
Yeah. No, for sure. And it's a lot of fun. It's very rewarding and yeah.
Cool. So how many podcasts did you actually produce? Do you know?
Yes. This podcast will be for the video. This will be the 63rd video podcast. I did a couple that were just audio before that, just with my dad. But the episode 1 that I labeled was the first one I did, video with Brandon Vaught.
Okay.
And so it was helpful to label it that way. So video wise, this is the 63rd one.
Wow, that's quite an accomplishment, Adrian. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. I mean, it didn't compare to you though. You produced more.
But I took many more years to do it. You did it in a very concentrated amount of time.
Yeah, I know, but thank you. Yeah, it was very it was a great experience, very rewarding. So
cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. So since this is a Chesterton podcast, I thought I'd ask you some Chesterton questions.
Okay.
Do you have a favorite Chesterton book?
A favorite Chesterton book? Yeah, it's probably Orthodoxy. I know it's basic answer, but that was the first Chesterton book I read. It was my freshman year at Chesterton, and at Chesterton it was really helpful. This is how we read it. My dad taught it, and he had us, as we read each chapter, go through and underline all of the paradoxes in Orthodoxy. And that really helped read it for the first time, helped us read it for the first time, because you're looking for it while reading it. You're not just reading aimlessly. And as a young teenager, that can be very difficult for a Chesterton book. So that's actually good advice for people who are getting into Chesterton for the first time and are a little nervous about it. You should go and read it, and you can just underline all the paradoxes and just go on a treasure hunt for them, because it's a really fun thing to do.
That's actually great advice. I know other people who have read Orthodoxy and haven't had such a fun experience with it.
Okay, yeah, no, it makes sense. Yeah.
All right. Do you have a favorite Chesterton quote?
Yes, and I hope some people remember it. I've mentioned it a few times on the podcast, but I think it is in Orthodoxy. angels can fly because they can take themselves lightly. That's my favorite one. And
Excellent.
I had it as my senior quote on graduation. It was right next to my name and image and stuff. And I really liked it. I didn't get why at first. I just, something struck me about it, and that's sometimes how it is. It's an intuition thing, but I understand it more now. It's referring to not being too serious and trying to be joyful and maybe even humorous, because as he says, Satan fell due to the force of his own gravity. And yeah, so it's not necessarily a virtue to be grave and serious. Sometimes it is a good thing to be light and have that brevity. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. Good. Well, so that's interesting because I was going to ask you, well, what does it mean to you now? But you already answered that.
Okay, nice. Sorry, taking away questions here.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Do you have any questions for me?
Yes. Well, actually, what's your favorite Chesterton quote?
Oh, that's a tough one. I'm going to paraphrase because I don't have this memorized.
Okay,
But
that's fine.
my favorite saying of Chesterton's is, try to get along with the people in the house, a random house that you just see on the street. Try to get along with them and live with them. And that is essentially what you did on the day you were born. And I know I said that absolutely wrong, but I love that saying because, our family, they're our family, and everyone's really different. And sometimes you wonder, well, if I wasn't related to these people, would I even be having Thanksgiving with them?
Yep.
But they're your family, and that's what you did when you were born. You found a whole bunch of people and you tried to get along with them.
Yeah, and it's a good analogy how we actually have to get along with everyone in a way,
Right.
because we have that unconditional love with our
Yep.
family, but really we should have unconditional love for all of God's beloved creatures.
Every
And
single person.
yeah,
Absolutely.
that's really
Yep.
good. Was that in Everlasting Man? I don't remember where it was.
I'm going to show my ignorance. I don't know.
Okay, someone in the comments section on YouTube, paste where that is if you can
Okay.
find it.
Yeah. Help
Yeah.
me out.
Yeah, right. No, that's fair. I mean, I have my favorite Chesterton quotes that I butcher, just absolutely butcher.
Yeah, I know, and I console myself knowing that Chesterton didn't always say his quotes exactly correct
Yes.
either.
Yeah.
But as long as you have the gist of it and you have the feeling of, I do have a favorite Chesterton essay, which I've probably mentioned many times before, but it's the Emancipation of Domesticity.
Yes. The
It's
Emancipation. Nice.
That's a great title, but it's a lot of women like it because it shows Chesterton understands the home and the power of a woman in a home,
Mm,
and how the work that you're doing in your own home is so important in raising your own children. And he has things along the way. I don't think it's in this essay where he says, how can it be an important thing to go and teach 30 children, that 2 + 2 equals 4, when you can be at home teaching your own children everything.
yep.
And so
Exactly.
there every once in a while on Twitter, Adrian, you've probably seen it too, where people are like, oh, Chesterton, he doesn't get women. Oh, he's such an anti-feminist and blah, blah, blah. But then I think, oh, you just read one little thing and you read it wrong.
You read it wrong. Yeah, that's the biggest tragedy. You read it wrong.
It is
Yeah.
such a tragedy. So
Yeah.
yes, but if you read The Emancipation of Domesticity, you know that Chesterton understood women. And there was recently a critique of Chesterton where, and I think it might have been in that new book, The Sins of G.K. Chesterton by Richard Ingrams that I was reading, and he's basically said that everything Chesterton knew about women he based on his wife, as if his wife was the only woman he knew.
Yeah.
And we can already know how wrong that is, because not only was Chesterton's wife in his home, but they had a housekeeper and a cook and a secretary, all women. And then he worked with women in every office that he ever worked at.
Yeah.
He has sister-in-laws and nieces, and there's just women everywhere around Chesterton.
Yeah.
So
And I'm sure they had friends, and they were probably more likely to have friends than the similar age people nowadays.
exactly.
Everyone's isolated.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, we
Yeah.
have a diary that Francis Chesterton kept, like from 1904 to 1905. Aidan Mackey found this diary on the back of a notebook, She
Mhm.
had, like opened up the back of the notebook and started writing backwards through it. And
Oh,
it,
wow.
and
That's nice.
yeah, and like every other day, they were either having people over to dinner or going somewhere to dinner.
Yeah. There you
So it
go.
was
Yeah.
just
Which we
constant.
have to bring back. We really need that.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
do. We really
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
Yeah.
The pandemic made it difficult, but we have to reinstitute that. Yeah.
Yeah. What? Pandemic?
Yeah. Yeah. What
Yeah.
pandemic, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But no, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, but yeah, again, thank you for starting up the podcast and now continuing it on. I'm
Well,
sure a lot of people will be very grateful for that.
thank you for carrying the torch for the
Yes, yeah.
last 63 episodes.
No, yeah, you're welcome. But yeah, I mean, I hope to also come back on and maybe we can do some guest hosting and yeah,
That would
uh,
be awesome.
we have liberty here and it's also what people want. So also post your comments and if you have content that you want to see or topics you want discussed, this you have that opportunity to put that on YouTube because we read the comments, and
Right.
so that would be great to see. Yeah,
Yep.
and I'm honored. I've been honored to all of our listeners. I've been honored to be the host for the last year, and thank you for your support.
Thank you, Adrian.
All right. Uh, until next time, help us to make uncommon sense more common.